Also, Happy New Year to all the colleagues on the webinar. And I know some of you and appreciate the opportunity to able to share our research. And so I will have our colleague here, Shawn, and with me. So what I will do is that I will do a very brief presentation, and then after that, and Shawn will go to demo the system. So basically, that's what we are trying to do is that it's two parts. One is for me to introduce our model. It's called IMWEBS to you folks. And then what we're going to demo that is going to demo a WebGIS interface to show that how the model results will look like. So that's pretty much the two parts. So for the modeling side, and our group has been specializing on landscape Pmp assessments, and for many years, I think at least I worked on this for about 25 years now. And we started from the soil and water assessment tool. That's a very famous model from USDA, and with all the bells and whistles to do that. And we work on this, and also we work with quite a number of organizations across the country, and like Ducks in Canada, ADAS Canada, and Alberta governments, and Ontario government, some other government agency, and on the SWOT modeling. But in recent 10 or probably more years, and we really interested about developing is a grid-based model, and which is called the IMWEBS. And you see from the screenshot, it's basically that model is put more resolution into on the landscape. So, and what we did is we developed this model from scratch. And however, we're able to borrow lots from SWOT, from Apex, and you name it, lots of models, and also we developed some of our own algorithms as well. So, and from here, and then you see it's a grid system, and then we're able to zoom down to details. So, and then for a field, we're able to know subfield. For a buffer, we're able to know the segments of the buffer, and for wetland, we're able to model individual wetlands. So in comparison, and SWOT is aggregates and the wetland together, aggregate buffers as well. So why we do this? It's because that's SWOT actually is a very useful model, able to and simulating a large area, large river basin is very good. We did a model to some small area, but it's challenging. So that's the reason for us to have another model which is able to drill down to details. So without getting into technical details, I just want to share some of the facts about this model. Like I said, this is scale-based, it's grid-based. And then also that we can say that this is the only model in Canada. We're not saying in the world, but maybe some other model available, but we're able to use this model to quantify water quantity and the quality at a site, which means specific site, and a field and a farm, watershed, and also able to go to river basin as well. So our intention is not to replace SWOT, it's working in conjunction with SWOT and able to drill down the details. So also because of this is a grid-based model, and we're able to integrate economic, carbon, and biodiversity data, velocity data in grid format and easily. So far, and we have about 36 PMPs already, and you probably see that, and they're able to capture crop management and tillage, and then also we're able to do wetland restoration. And specifically this model in recent few years, and we're working in Alberta and intensively, and we work on menu and nutrient management. And so I will not get into details about those things, and we'll be more than happy to share slides with you as well and afterwards. And also that's repairing, and we have a repairing buffer and the grass waterway, and also that we have a repairing fencing, like I say, access management, and we're able to combine with offsite watering. So that's some of the system, and in Alberta, Manitoba, I think Saskatchewan, or Ontario as well. So those places. And then watering site management again is about livestock, and then also that we're able to capture pasture management, like rotational grazing and timing, density of stocking, and also marginal crop management. So in short, this is a modeling system able to capture and landscape management specifically on agriculture, and of course with wetlands and the natural infrastructure, buffer some other system. So this model, because of the resolution, So and then we're able to output and those kind of, we can do hourly simulation as well, and then monthly and yearly, and then space distribution, and then we can get a sleuth and a slate of the variables like water quantity, quality, sediment, nitrogen, phosphorus, and even more soil moisture. Shawn will show that lots of variables available for the users. And then in terms of input, and it's no different from other models. So we need climate data, topography, soil, land use, but I highlight that we need a Pmp information. And the reason for that, if we don't have the information, we don't know how to simulate. We must be able to capture that. So that's some of the challenges, but we did have a few approaches to address the challenge. So, and with that being said, and now I turn to Shawn, and we're going to give the demo. And then the whole idea is that the grid-based model is very complex. We need to run a few hours and some for a long time. And then what we did is that we're able to simulate this model for thousands of times using our server. And then we're able to build this and WebGIS system if the users have a very easy access to the system for their needs. So without further ado, I'm going to give it to Shawn.
Okay, let me just switch back to the app. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. For those of you from Middle and Western Canada, good morning. My name is Shao. I have English and Shawn. And so I'm a postdoc working in the Department of Geography in University of Guelph here in Guelph, Ontario. And so today I'm going to demonstrate the tool of Ecosystem Services Assessment Tool, or I'm using ESAT for short. Okay, in this demonstration, you will see 4 demonstration cases. And the first 2 demonstration cases will be explorational, just to help you to use the tool, guide you through this tool to explore the watershed, explore the condition of the watershed, and also BMPs. The next 2 will be more analytical and answering planning questions. So let's start with that. And as you can see, this is our login page. By input your email address and password and click the sign in button, you will log into the system. Okay. All right. So this will be our first page. When you log into the system, it's the overview page of the watershed. And also it starts my first demonstration case, which is the watershed overview. And we know, like for other users, like they really need to know this watershed well before they can explore different type of watershed, different type of BMPs, and what are their benefits and costs. And that's why this is the first step. And firstly, let's look at the top left corner of the map. You can see there's a box which articulates a few different options for our overview functions. The first one is called baseline. If you click on this drop-down box, you will see 2 baselines. One is called conventional, the other is called existing. We specifically create these 2 baselines for every watershed we simulate to represent 2 conditions. For conventional baseline, it is a condition of basically remove all the existing BMPs and using a conventional agriculture production procedure. So this you can think about this traditional agriculture production procedures. And by adding based on this baseline, you can explore the BMP's effectiveness compared to this baseline. Another baseline is the existing baseline. Basically, that's a status quo of the current situation with some BMPs already implemented in this watershed. And so if you want to answer questions like, what's the BMP effectiveness and cost if I add more future BMPs compared to current condition, you can do so by using this existing baseline. Okay, that's the 2 baseline. And we also have this spatial scale. We can basically aggregate our result into different spatial scales, or SD, which in Alberta is a legal subdivision. And we have parcel, farm, municipality, sub-watershed, and watershed, and which can be useful for different type of users. Some may be more small scale, some may be more large scale. And the third one is the simulation period, which from 1978 to 2017. As you can see, this Indian farm watershed we are demonstrating, we have a data set of 40 years results. So we basically use this 40. Today I'm going to demo with this 40 years results. Okay. So and next, let's look at this table at the bottom of this page. Here. So as you can see here, this is a very comprehensive table to show different type of information of this watershed. You can see this is the parcel ID, their area, the average elevation of this parcel, the average slope, dominant land use, you name it. We have a lot as I scroll to the right of this table. And we have something like runoff, annual average runoff, sediment yield in tons per hectare, things like that. At the very end of this table, you can see soil carbon, yearly average soil carbon sequestration, and also biodiversity ratings for each parcel. This is just for users use to explore what's the basic information of this watershed. And if you want to know different yearly average, you can basically drag this bar. For example, if you want to know the recent 10 years average data, actually our table has updated for reflect the recent 10 years yearly average result. And another cool feature for our overview page is this one. It's called the color ramp. Basically, what it does is it maps all these numbers onto this map. So project it onto the map. For example, if you want to know this watershed elevation distribution, okay, you can click on that. You can see this one. Red means higher and green means lower. As you can see here, and the legend is here. You can see this, the watershed at the bottom part, it actually has higher elevation, and the watershed outlet is here in the top part of the watershed. And we can also see like this spatial distribution of the precipitation, which actually have the similar distribution as the elevation. We can also see some other things like, for example, evapotranspiration, which is also a function of soil water, temperature, and reflects that actually the top part of the watershed have higher evapotranspiration because of the higher temperature. And we have runoff, sediment, and nutrients as well as soil carbon and biodiversity. For example, this is a soil carbon distribution here. And by looking at the legend here, we're using quantile to divide it into different color bricks. And you can see here, this carbon, the average carbon sequestration in this watershed per year is around 30 tons to 35 tons per hectare. Okay, so this is the first demonstration to show you how we can use this tool to overview the watershed. And the second one, what I'm going to do is to answer a question about what is the existing Pmp. For some existing Pmp, what are their benefits and locations? To do so, actually, we need to create a project to evaluate that. For example, how can we create a project? We just click on this button. For example, I'm going to create an existing project with the parcel level, aggregation level, and with the year of the recent 10 years results. Just do this way. And I'm going to specify this setting here based on our existing and spatial unit of parcel. There are only two levels here, LSD and parcel, because this is the level you want to select. In the later demonstration, I'm going to select Pmps where I'm going to apply them. We have two level of application scales. Okay, so now I'm setting the start and end year of this project to 2008, 2017 for the most recent 10 years. And I say add the project. You can see here it's adding a new project, and this project actually reviews here. And we can click on the baseline information to show you within this setting of existing condition and also this period of summarization, what's the results of this watershed. And this table at the bottom of this map is actually very similar to the one of the overview one, but with the setting of this specific project of existing condition and 2008 to 2017, 10 years average. Okay. So next, I want you to pay attention to the two tables on the right-hand side. And you can see here we have the baseline Pmp Summary Table. In this table, actually, we summarize all of this existing Pmp already implemented in this watershed. For example, for this ROGZ, sorry, we're still using this short form abbreviation to represent different Pmps because different Pmps may have a very long name. So this ROGZ represents rotational grazing. And you can see there's a number count of 2, meaning in this baseline, in this existing condition, there are 2 parcels that have already implemented rotational grazing. And to answer this question, where they are, let's click on the rotational grazing. Oops, click on the other one. Yeah, so this is the rotational ROGZ. And so this will show you where these 2 locations are. So our map's a little bit slow because of the internet connection, but let's just give it a time. And here it comes. So all this orange boxes or orange parcels are those parcels eligible for applying rotational grazing in the future. And this 2 gray box, as I point here in the top part of the watershed, are those 2 rotational grazing parcels that have already been implemented in this watershed. Okay, so basically using this tool, you can explore where are those existing BMPs. And next, I'm going to show you how we can quantify their effectiveness. And their effectiveness are summarized actually in the table on this right-hand side of the bottom table, which is called Pmp Effectiveness Summary. So as actually you can see, we have a long list of BMP effectiveness. That's the beauty of BMPs. Like because you apply BMP, you not only get only 1 or 2 ecosystem services. Actually, you get a lot of different BMP effectiveness. And so, and basically, this table summarizes the effectiveness of all the existing BMPs. And we have the on-site effectiveness, for example, this TN on-site. That means with all these existing BMPs, we have reduced about 12,000 kilograms of TN on-site at edge of field every year. And at the bottom of this one, we have the offset, which is the benefit at the watershed outlet. This like 5,571 kilogram of TP offset means with this existing BMPs, we have reduced TP at the watershed outlet yearly about 5,571 kilograms, which is around roughly 20% of the total loading of this watershed. Okay, so with this demonstration case, I just show you how you can use this tool to quantify the BMP effectiveness, existing BMP effectiveness, and also where they are. So that's the 2 explorational demonstration case. And the third one I'm going to demonstrate is an analytical case, which is to compare 2 BMPs and compare them and see which one will be more effective and more efficient in reducing TP. Okay, all right, let's begin. So these 2 BMPs we're going to compare are these 2. One is called AOPA No NASB. It stands for AOPA stands for Alberta Operation Practice Act, which actually is a regulation of 4 combined BMPs. Farmers, whenever use manure application, needs to follow this regulation. This 4 BMPs, including manure incorporation within 48 hours, manure setback, and no manure application on snow, and also manure application based on soil nitrogen level. And this AOPA No MASB is basically manure, the 3 BMPs without the manure setback. So we use 3 BMPs combined, create a scenario, and also we create another scenario with only the manure setback. And we'll also compare this two BMPs, see which one is more effective in reducing TP. Okay, so let's first start with AOPA without manure setback. There's three BMP combinations, and we want to see their effectiveness. And now I would like you to pay more attention on this table at the bottom of this map. On this table, basically we have the parcel ID, we have the farm ID, we have their BMP applying area, and these two columns are very important. One is called on-site effectiveness, and the other one is called offset effectiveness. And we're summarizing TP. Basically, we can summarize other variables we care. In this demo, I'm just going to use TP. And this on-site effectiveness mean, for example, for this one, 0.2448 of parcel number 6 means if you apply this BMP in parcel number 6 of AOPA without manure setback, that's 3 BMP combined, you will reduce about 0.245 kilogram of TP at the edge of field every year. And for this offset effectiveness, 0.21 means this 0.25 will reflect on the watershed outlet of about 0.21 kilogram because of the stream access. And the next column of cost means how much it costs to implement these 3 BMPs. And if we combine these 3 columns, actually we can get this 2, which is more important for our comparison, which is the on-site and offset cost effectiveness. And we basically use the cost divided by this 2 effectiveness column. And this on-site cost effectiveness, for example, this 97.49 means you need to spend around $97 to reduce 1 kilogram of TP on-site. And this 113.51 means you need to spend around $114 to reduce 1 kilogram of TP at the watershed outlet by this BMP in this parcel. Okay, so with the explanation, we have also this tool of color ramping. For example, if we project this on-site effectiveness to the map, this map will show like this value. And basically this red means cheaper and green means more expensive. And in average, with this AOPA without manure setback, we need to spend roughly around $50 to reduce 1 kilogram TP on site. Okay, to remember that, it's a $50 price tag for every kilogram of TP on site. If we change this to offset, we can see the map will be updated. Okay, yeah, it's already updated. And this number has changed. Actually, it's much more expensive to reduce TP offset because of the stream access. Even if you reduce 1 kilogram TP onsite at your field, it doesn't mean you reduce 1 kilogram TP at the watershed outlet. Usually it is less. So this price tag jumped to actually around $400 per kilogram TP reduction at the watershed outlet. Okay, this 2 numbers, $50 onsite and $400 offset for AOPA without manure setback. Okay, now let's come to the manure setback along this BMP. Okay, just do this, remove this color red first. And now let's project the onset cost effectiveness of manure setback alone on the map. So it will show up here. The map is a little bit slower, so we're figuring out why it is slow, but we'll fix out. But let's look at the legend here. So you can see the manure setback actually for the onsite is much cheaper. It's around $11 per kilogram reduction on onsite. And if we do the offset cost effective analysis, and the map will be updated. And you can see this price tag actually jumped to around $90 to $100 per kilogram of TP reduction at watershed outlet. So by doing this, actually we demonstrate that manure setback is roughly around 4 times efficiency or more efficient in reducing TP offset and onsite. And so, of course, the other three BMPs, their total effectiveness in terms of not say per dollar, it's just total TP reduction definitely is larger than manure setback alone. But when we talk about cost effectiveness or per dollar effectiveness, actually manure setback is a more effective or efficient BMP to do in terms of TP reduction. Okay, so that's the third demonstration case. And the last one I'm going to demonstrate is a very fancy tool that we incorporate in our tool. It's called intelligent recommendation here. And a lot of time from different government agencies and conservation organizations, actually they ask us these two type of questions. First question is, okay, I want to reduce, for example, 10% of TP of our watershed, and also maybe I want to reduce, let's say, 500 pounds per year of sediment in our watershed. How can I do that? How can I achieve that goal with the minimum cost? That's the first type of question. And the second type of question is a budget question. Like, I have this, like, say, $20,000 to spend to invest on conservation programs, and I care about TP and carbon. How can I spend this money more efficiently? These two types of questions. Actually, our intelligent recommendation tool is designed specifically to answer these two questions. And it matches up with our two intelligent mode. One is called eco-service mode. Basically answer the question of you have a clear mind about what's the environmental target you want to achieve. And our tool will achieve this environmental target with the minimum budget. And the other mode is called budget mode. It's like another question, you have a specific budget and we want to achieve the maximum environmental benefit with this limit budget. Okay, because of the time limit, I'm just going to demonstrate this eco-service mode. Okay, let me select this eco-service mode. And the system already create a default TP offset reduce 20% this constraint of environmental target. And because it's a little bit harder to understand, let me just remove that. I'm just going to use the absolute value to introduce to you how we can use this. For example, I'm going to use TP onsite as one environmental target. I want to reduce, for example, 500 kilogram of TP every year at this watershed. And also, we can actually add as many constraints as possible if you want. And I also care about, let's say, we also care about soil carbon. So I also want to increase carbon by, for example, 3,000 tons per year in this watershed. Okay, so now I've set up the TP onsite reduce 500 kilogram per year, which is roughly around 0.3% of the watershed onsite. And this soil carbon, I want to increase about 3,000 tons per year, which is roughly around 0.6% of the total watershed carbon sequestration. And by clicking this Run Intelligent Recommendation Tool button, and then we can run this tool. And basically what it does is the system on the server will explore different kind of Pmp combinations and to achieve the minimum cost and also to achieve this two goals that we set up for TP onset reduction and also TP and also the soil carbon increase in this watershed. Usually with this setting, it's roughly around about 30 seconds. The interface will just pop up and just let you know, like, okay, we're ready to go. Okay, here we go. Now we have our results. So what it does, what this system gives you, is basically a recommended BMP scenario to achieve this goal. Okay, let's look at the, let me just click that again. The map doesn't reflect it correctly. Okay, I think this time it should be okay. So let's look at the table on the right-hand side. We have the Effectiveness Summary Table. Okay, let's scroll down and to here. Actually, thinking maybe I'm assessing something, but it's close. Like in the TP on site, it's reduced about 431 kilogram per year. And the soil carbon on site increased about roughly around 3,000 tons per year. Okay, so, and again, with this PMP applied, you have a suite of effectiveness or ecosystem service like soil moisture increase, evapotranspiration increase, and runoff decrease, things like that. And for this, this table, the Pmp Summary Table, actually summarize all the PMPs that has needs to be implemented in this watershed, including 16 vegetation filter strips and manure setback, rotational grazing, and things like that, with a cost roughly around $4,000. And so you can see this is the map that shows where you should apply what PMPs. Excuse me. And this purple one, or Amp, stands for the multiple PMPs, meaning there needs to be applied multiple PMPs within this watershed. And also, so for this table, below the map, actually, you can see this parcel ID and farm ID and different parcel PMP, structure PMP. Basically mean for each parcel, we give a recommended BMP or BMP combination and their cost for each of this parcel. And basically, this is a BMP scenario we recommended based on the setting we just set up for environmental target. Okay, so that's the full demonstration for our system. I think we have that's everything I want to show you guys. I think I will pass back to Ian. And so if you have more questions.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to clarify that this watershed is called Indian Farm Creek watershed in southern Alberta. So it's close to US border and also not far away from Lethbridge. So I just wanted to clarify that. And also that Shawn just showed that the one is using eco-service. We can go the other way around. We can specify how many dollars as well, but it's a similar procedure, but we can go either way. So yeah, and we come back to Ian. Thanks.
Okay, if anybody, thank you, Shawn and Wanhong, for your very interesting presentation. If anybody has any questions, feel free to enter your name into the chat box, and I'll get to. Okay. Actually, Shawn, I'd be really interested in seeing how that how the monetary conversion would work. We have the time to do that if you have time to do that, but we do have a question as to what sources of data did you use?
Okay, so I will let Shawn to load the system. I will ask this question, and basically that actually is for the input data, and of course, just like this model, the base is hydrological model, we need topography and land use and soil, and then land management, like say tillage and those kind of like fertilizer stuff. One want to be more capture that, and then we need climate data, precipitation, temperature, soil radiation, those stuff to drive the model, and also we need water quality data, water quantity data flow, and the nutrient to calibrate this model. So that's about the water quality part, water quantity part, and then also that for the soil carbon and biodiversity, actually we are not the people to do this project. We work with Alberta Biodiversity Monitoring Institute, so they are able to help us come with numbers for landscape management, what kind of soil carbon and then biodiversity. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, that's the data set. And so I'm not sure, I just keep talking, I'm not sure if I am clear, but the data in our case, and the most challenging is get those BMP data. And because, we don't know where they are. And sometimes people don't want to show it that. Even like say for density Canada, where are the water and resport and with other things. So that's pretty much our project we encountered. But one thing I like to mention about it is that for the model, we always need lots of data set like Shawn showed on screen. You share the screen as well?
Yes.
Okay. And then we try our best to gather what as much data as possible. So it'll never be ready. The data will never be ready, but we'll make assumptions and some other things as well. So I stop here, and if I may, and then Shawn just keep showing the monetary version, and then would you see that any response to my answer or anything else, and we can go for chat box and in order for efficiency. How's that? Okay, thank you. Shawn, you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so next I'm going to demonstrate another flip around question, like if you have a specific budget, and so let's say you want to achieve this budget limit and also achieve the maximum relative benefit. Okay, so for example, let's say we have $5,000 to spend in this watershed, and then we can also customize the weight, basically tell the system which parameter we care most. This is a relative weighting. For example, let's say
right now TP is 100.
Yeah, now I'm just going to setting the TP on-site as 100. So that means I care 100% of TP on-site. And other things I don't care as long as it achieves with this $5,000 achieve the best TP on-site reduction. Okay, so
we can go multiple one as well. So
yeah, we can go multiple one.
So yeah, I think why don't you go soil carbon as well?
Let's go soil carbon.
Yeah, to see what the things we got. Yeah.
Okay.
So in this case, if we all put the soil carbon and the TP at 100, that means that actually the equal weight. Yeah. And the TP and the soil carbon are all important. So we go from there.
Right. Okay. I see. So for example, in this case, we can run the intelligent recommendation.
So we did some testing, interesting in that, and the more you add more like an equal service over there, and then it's more like computers more difficult to choose, right? So, but we did initially, and we typically say, okay, I'm just care about what quality, just do one. But now, and we do two, and it will take a bit longer. Right?
Yeah,
a little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
So, but I just want to explain that behind this computer running is basically the optimization model. Optimization model has two modes. One is that, and you can set up objective about the equal services, like what quality, what quantity, and then minimize the cost. Another one is that we set up a budget constraint, and then we maximize the benefit. With this money, what's the maximum we can get out of it? So right now, and Shawn is waiting for the map to load up, but you already have the benefit to come up. So what's the TP and the soil carbon now? Okay.
Now it's
you're able to get a 300, something like that.
TP
and
484.
Yeah. So last scenario you spend about this scenario spend about $5,000, right?
Around $4,000.
$4,000. So
yeah.
So apparently that the trade-off is here.
Yeah.
And for last one, and we have specifically one how much soil carbon and how much phosphorus, right?
Right.
This time we just spend money, and then we have a little bit like a trade-off between, looks like, and we have both TP and the soil carbon there, right?
Right. Yeah, but I think the number is a little bit weird at this stage.
Supposedly it should be more. Right?
Should be more.
Should be more.
Yeah.
And but this is just give us a little bit of flavor about that. We can go both ways.
Yeah.
And can also go pretty complicated way as well. And go like you can pick 3, 4, 5, main numbers.
Right.
So so the map is still loading, or
it's still loading.
Okay.
And
so by the table show that what kind of BMP. The BMP is also changed, become SAMG.
Yeah.
So what's SAMG? What stands for?
It stands for the Stream Access Management.
Oh, okay.
Which is a combination of fencing and also offset watering.
Okay.
For,
so it's changed as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty much another flavor we show that. So Amy, we'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you for that information. While we're waiting for this simulation to load, we do have another question quickly. Great presentation and great work, Shawn and Wanhong. Is it possible to use the intelligent recommendation feature, but constrain it to only certain BMPs?
Yes, actually, it's, for the intelligent condition, we can pick one BMP or combination of BMP, right?
Exactly.
We can do that.
Yeah.
For example, and we can pick I know that this group and more maybe interested about wetland restoration, but unfortunately, there was no wetlands and the restoration potential in this watershed. We did have some wetland loss scenario, so we did not ready a BMP. We did not go over there. But in short answer in that question, yes, we can go individual BMP or a combination of BMPs.
Exactly.
And not the right now we let the model select whatever available BMP, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So let me just just follow up with that question. Actually, for this one, we call the BMP scope and intelligent recommendation. It's basically there are two steps. One is to set up the intelligent recommendation settings. The other is to define the BMP scope. So, for example, now defaultly it's that all the available BMPs are in the scope of searching in the searching scope. You can basically select some BMPs or some combination of BMPs within the scope, and also you can select some. You can disable some area of that is not in the scope. So that gives you the user enough flexibility to define the BMP scope for intelligent recommendation.
Yeah. So you have noticed that the display is a bit slow. We're still trying to optimizing how they deal with this type of loading issues. So we will work on it. Thank you. Yeah, get back to you.
Okay. Another question has come in. Are you using the? Are you running the model using a mix of data, long-term water data from hydrometric stations, and then shorter term, but possibly more detailed data from sampling locations upstream at select locations?
Yes, this is the expert question. And then we always challenged by data availability, and fortunate about agriculture and forestry, and they did a nutrient BMP project in this watershed from, I think it's from 2007 to 2013.
Yeah.
And then I guess 7 or 8 years. And then they did great work, and actually one of the flagship projects in Alberta, and then to work with farmers to implement BMP, and then to monitoring data and the water quality, water quantity, and do lots of survey. So we are privileged to have the data. That's the data for validation. However, for this model, like exactly like this colleague asked about it, we run this model for 40 years, right? 78 to 2017, right?
Exactly.
40 years. But we really validated that period, about 2007 to 2013, with those kind of, and quite a number of stations and all the things. We really pleased with those data availability. And of course, we don't expect data available for other watershed, but my view and our view is that with that data, we can transfer similar relationship to the nearby or similar watersheds. Okay. Yeah, now that's my answer, and I'll come back to you in.
All right. One more question. What are the next steps in the rollout of this model? When will it be available for the Watershed Manager's Toolbox?
Yes, that's some of the things which we are working on, and you probably noticed that we're trying to fix those loading issues, some other things, and have quite a bit of a glitch over there, because when we put things online, desktop is we can control quite a bit of things, but when we go to online, it's always a bit challenging. So we're optimizing right now, and we did run this workshop to the agriculture clinics and in December, and we held in the next few months, and we would like to share with them about we have a login system, which is, and this is not mean to be available for everybody, because we have a data sharing agreement and with Upper Agriculture, some other people. However, and then in this system, and how we're going to share later on, and in short, we're trying to make this available for managers to play around as soon as possible. I think it's the next few months. And so that's about the availability. And the other thing is that our group also privileged to get another project in Alberta. We're going to, this is 145 square kilometer watershed, 145, 147. And then right now we're working on a watershed. It's called the Modesty Creek watershed. It's upstream of Edmonton. It's about 5,000 square kilometers, 700. So we are going to run some scenario like a recurrent buffer and wetlands and some grazing management BMPs. And for that, and we also build a system for that watershed as well. So right now, so I answer two questions. One is when this system can be available. Another one is what's the next step we're working on. So that's pretty much what's ahead of us. Thank you. Back to you, Ian.
Okay, perfect. The next question is, you mentioned model calibration. How is this accomplished? It has, what is the cost and resources required to do that?
That's a very good question. So for the model, and I have to admit, and it's very important to have this monitoring data to calibrate and validate. So if for this watershed, like I said, and the Upper Agriculture must invest millions of dollars into this watershed to do experiment and getting data and share with us. For us, we are the modeler, and then for calibrate the model, and definitely need to run model thousands, 100,000 times, and to make sure the those statistics, like the large coefficients and bias and other things, will be reasonable. So I think we probably spend about half a year, right? That's a good half a year, and using our server and spin the model and make sure and all the results are reasonable, because we have multiple sites. When you get a multiple site, and it's important to make sure and all different sites they mesh very well. However, I like to mention another side of the coin. So and people ask me, say, somewhat there's not many data available. For example, and about more than 10 years ago, I think even 15 years ago, we worked in a watershed with Spatial Canada in the Broughton's Creek watershed. And that watershed actually is, at that time, there's no monitoring data. And I remember, and we transferred the flow from a nearby watershed, and to make sure we calibrate the model, we use some of the graph sampling data to make sure the water quality and simulation in the ballpark. And we also finished the water restoration assessment project over there, and we published it. I remember the review, and they have a very divergent view. One review said no, and we cannot publish this paper because there's no real data calibration. Another view say, well, this looks like a very creative project. Creative project means that they use a very good protocol, still able to get a good results, reasonable results. So that's kind of much. I show two stories here, and for the colleagues. And some of you probably know what I mean, because I know some colleagues from DUC. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Ian.
Okay, great. We didn't have any other questions come in. Could you explain what I see that the simulation is done. Can you just briefly, we have a few minutes left, if you could just briefly explain what we were looking at here.
Yeah. Would you explain a little bit about what's on the screen?
On this screen? Okay, yes, so...
it looks like it's not, this not screen is not the Pmp assessment results, right? No. It's not, okay.
Okay, so Ian, just to clarify, you want to explain like this very screen?
What's on the screen right now?
Yeah, the simulation stopped running. You put in some you put in your variables, and it's now stopped. So I was just wondering what it is that we're looking at here.
Yeah, your PMP.
What can we get from the information that is shown here?
Yeah, did you get the for the next final simulation? Do you get some PMP assessment results?
Yes, I do.
You did. Okay, yeah. You recorded, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's show that. Okay, so what Shawn is showing, and I just want to share with colleagues, and And we'll be interested to work with you folks, have any interest to expand the project to other places. And if I understand right, and you folks are interested about the water restoration, upland habitat, some other things. So, and for us, and we're interested about expanding this platform to other areas as well. So Shawn basically explained this one is that it's the M means multiple BMP, and some of the color means we show the legend, and then some specific BMP, and then we realized that and it's just impossible to show multiple BMP on landscape. So then we just use M, but the table below that we're going to show that what's exactly over there.
Yeah.
So that's what we see.
Yes. So I'm just going to give a brief introduction about the results you can see here. This is a summarization result page for results. Like, for example, on the right-hand side, you have the Pmp Summary Table. So basically summarize
different type BMP, different type. Right?
Yeah, for different type of BMPs. For this VFST means vegetation filter strips. There are 71 parcels that involve this one. The total area, their total cost, and things like that. This table summarizes that. And the total cost for all these BMPs is around $4,776. And the table below the BMP summary table is called effectiveness summary. Basically, by implementing all these BMPs, the all effectiveness are summarized here. We have the on-site.
So what Shawn is trying to explain is that yes, we did set up the TP and the soil carbon as the target, but we all know that any conservation practice we're going to have multiple benefit. So we also provide other additional benefit, other extra benefit from this target and even system as well, because we have the results available. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just to wrap up, this here in the center is a map of showing where you should apply what BMP. AMP stands for multiple BMPs, and this table below it actually gives more details for each parcel. What's the recommended BMP to achieve this BMP effectiveness goal? Okay, so that's the summarization of this page. Back to you, Ian.
Well, thank you very much. That was great. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that for us. If there are no other questions, I'd like to thank you for taking the time today to present your tool, and it looks like it's going to be a great tool model going forward for planning, and both in the cost effectiveness and in the BMP, the ecosystem services rate. Yes, so thank you again for your presentation today, and thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you again in February for our next presentation. If you do have any further questions, please feel free to send them to John, and John will get them to Shawn and Wanhong. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian and John, for organizing this.
Yeah, no problem. Have a great day. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah.